it's Guido coming at you with a tactics talk. Welcome back, guys, and I got a good one here from Razorback. Chief is in his T-10, his brand spanking new. Sent me a note, says, promise to the wife, last game of the night type of game. He just ground out the XP, I believe off the IS-3, is that right? I don't remember. Whatever tank is before this thing. To the T-10, used to be the IS-8, and now is the T-10, but it's a Tier 9 Russian heavy tank, so he's just got it. I'm assuming it's fully upgraded, so probably used free XP based on the gun. He didn't say anything about that, and obviously not done with his, well, you didn't see the beginning of it, but he's not done with his field mods because you could not see the equipment that he had. That's one way to know on the replays. So went to cook dinner and then hung out with the wife for the evening and came back to wrap up a mission for Battle Pass and try out the new tank. And here he goes, his fifth game, pretty awesome, in this tank. So we're here on Himmel's El Halufdorf, standard channelized map. Looks really open, but the middle is useless. There are people running around the middle. It's not completely useless, just mostly useless, and getting out there early, out in the open, is a bad idea. Out in the open is always a bad idea, but out in the open in a pit is a super duper bad idea. Super duperlicious. Speaking of super duperlicious, good coffee. Good morning, by the way. I hope you have a fantastic day. So the T-10 is quite fast for a heavy. He gets raging across here and gets missed. Now I'm going to say that, as usual in big games, he's going to have a couple lucky spots. We're going to talk about a couple things I thought he could do better. But overall, doing a really nice job. You drop 6K, you're doing a nice job. We come over here, and the Skoda absolutely just snap-a-lap-a-ding-dong. Now, he was aimed in, but holy macaroni, we hadn't stopped for long and right into the little hatch. So the T-10 does have a couple hatches. They are weak spots right there. They're not easy to hit, but for this guy. But he's going to frustrate Mr. T-56. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. The 777 has zero idea that he's there. I'm not really sure what he's doing. He was staring at something else. And then we got Rainbow Monkeys and a 5100. You do this a lot, Razorback, and I think there's going to be people watching this of two minds on this. You do a lot of baiting shots, kind of popping in and out here in this nice hold down spot. The tank does have a decent turret, especially in this situation right here. But you're on a reload. So in general, I don't do this. Some people will do it a little more than I do because they're attempting to bait the shot. If I'm going to do something like that, I'll try to bait the shot as I'm getting close to reload, or as I'm reloaded, get them to shoot so I can come out and aim in. But you are fighting three different tanks. But you're going to spend a lot of time basically exposing your hatches, even though you are doing a really nice job of moving, while you're reloading. So we're kind of picking maybe a target here. Just like that. Now, we were reloaded. And I like how you don't just kind of stand in and aim in unless you really want to. This guy just pops out and we punish him real quick. We do have an ISU that has followed us up. That surprised me. He is now deadified. So, I don't know. It's kind of a nice idea, but it's just, you're not going to survive there very long in an ISU against that many tanks. And the 5100 puts him down. We come in there and we eat another shot. And when I saw the total damage, I thought, well, geez Louise, we've given up half our hit points. We're close to it here. But things go a lot better after this. Nice aiming in at the bottom of the T-28. They have a very small, thin, weak spot there. He is carrying 4 heat, but he doesn't dive into those. I might have done so on the T-28. I'm not really sure why the T-28 is sort of just standing in. He really wanted to go over there and get that shot, but he eats 2 from you. And he's trying to back out. He might die here, or maybe it takes a little longer. I don't remember. T-28 bounces, and we're up to 1,680 bounce. There we go. So we drop that guy in the same kind of weak spot down below. And then all of a sudden, the 5100 wants to come play again. So we have a 777 and a hold-down Skoda. That's a tough nut to crack right there. What I will say about this is there is some more zoom left, and you could use it to update your shot just a little bit. That's a hard shot either way you slice it, but where you're aiming is more at the middle of the crease there, and that makes a little bit more, I suppose, possibility, probability, whatever, of getting into the higher plate. Of course, if you drop down to the lower plate, which is barely visible, now you have a little bit more chance of hitting the ground. So do with that what you will. I think I might have fine-tuned that. That's why I like the extra zoom on occasion, is to get in there and really fine-tune that shot there. object bounces. That's another example of what I was talking about. You're just kind of sitting out there exposed with your turret, and you weren't reloaded. Now you are reloaded. Now we kind of move our turret back and forth, and this guy just loses his mind and drives in front. I don't know if he thought maybe you'd fired based on other shots going by or something. I've made that mistake myself. All right, here's another thing I wanted to talk about. Be very careful, guys, and I'll show you as he backs up here. There we go. Be very careful about these backup side scrapes when you're backing up a hill, because it will expose the top deck or the back deck, especially depending on how steep that hill is. This one's not too bad. It will give him some altitude to get shots, but it will give them potentially, and if it's very thin, there's an overmatch possibility. The top armor on the back decks of most tanks is quite thin, and it doesn't take a whole lot of caliber millimeters before you're doing the old triple overmatch trick right there. This guy just, I don't know, I think he was trying to come across there and do a little bit of what you're doing with the dead 5100, but he gave up hit points doing it. The Lurva for the moment has helped you. Now I get this 777 pushing the T-28 around. As a general rule, I don't do a lot of that because it's a bit of a waste of time usually. I might have just tried that shot, just see what happens. That spaced armor is pretty thick right there. And when you spend a lot of time, this was a nice shift on aim point and taking on the side of the 777. In general, because this game is so important in terms of time management and how much time you have to win, and how you need to get the other team's hit points taken off before they take your hit points off. Pushing around other tanks that are heavy and attempting to set up this great position for yourself may not be worth the time that's spent doing it, especially if the battle moves on and you spend a bunch of time not shooting and pushing dead tanks around. Sometimes it's a great idea. Sometimes, you know, depending on the situation, you can build yourself some nice armor and a nice hold down spot. But as a general rule, I don't do it a whole bunch. One option here is to go to your heat and maybe try to go through a turret of the 777. Remember I said the Skoda would get frustrated? When they start shooting HE at you and your hold down, that's somebody getting frustrated. Of course, it's not too big of a deal for him because his team is winning pretty well at this point. 5,500 hit points down. There are a couple tanks up. One thing I didn't see you do at all, and maybe you're able to keep track of it on the mini-map and on the tank rolls over on the top left and top right here. I didn't see you sort of look over and see what's going on over here. To give yourself a better idea of how the rest of your team is doing, I try to do that a lot. This was also a bit curious to me. I don't really know why the Skoda, and maybe he doesn't know you're doing this right now, but I don't know why he didn't push up around and maybe up to the side of this T-28 and just start shooting you here, because you spend a lot of time kind of out in the open here. I don't know if the Tornwagen knows you're coming, but the Renegade certainly does not. Trying to get a shot. Probably would have taken that shot. But he gives you a much better one and we thump him. And all that time right there, man, I just really felt like that Skoda was going to come. And I think he does here in a minute. But wow, how much time were we out in the open here while he did nothing? Pretty crazy. Could have been on a reload too. All right, that was right at the crease. I would have shifted that aim up a little bit just to center it on the turret or go after the lower plate. But you sort of went at the crease right there. That's a tough one, and sometimes at angles. Here he comes. That's what I would have done if I was him earlier, and he just plain old misses. So we get away with one right there. But we have blocked 3,000 damage. We've done 4,048. And as you can see, folks, you know, I'd like to hype this up as a possible comeback story, but that is just not what's going to happen here when we're 7,000 hit points down. Another HE shell to the face. It gets pretty funny right here, actually, what goes down. Razorback switches back over to try to help the last few living guys. I think that's a good idea. Just realize that, let's talk about time and let's talk about approach here. This is a good move. I like it. But just realize as soon as you're spotted, that T-56 and everybody else knows you're no longer on that corner and you're going to be enveloped at some point in the fairly near future. Also, approaches. I would not have come all the way around this corner knowing those two guys are up there. You have a great spot right here. Hold down behind your dead Lurva that you can work this little angle here. You will go to it. I just thought this was an unrequired kind of situation right here, and you lose some hit points because of it. He may have pinned you over on the other side here, but that was a much easier shot. There we get a bounce off the Maushin. We're looking for a shot on the char. This is the position I was talking about. You can back out to get a little altitude there, or a little bit better angle, I suppose is a better way to put that. And we back out, I think that's a good idea. So I'd use that position from the beginning. Now this is about the time we need to start. I saw you look over there. This is where we need to start figuring. More than likely somebody's going to come around behind me, and there may or may not be a lot you can do about it. Although it's probably not the T-56, because notice he's coming straight. I can't wrap my mind around it, but the way he played and then going to HE doesn't surprise me. I didn't look up his stats, I'm not sure. But why he didn't just come around behind you, and I don't know. Maybe he was still worried about the guys up top and didn't want to expose, but they're all dead now, so that was a bit nutty. The A phase 1 is going to give you a nice shot here. Good tracking and damage shot. If you did that on purpose, good on you. That's what you need to do. Here comes the Skoda, who's still shooting HE. He misses one. We tuck up here. I like this. And it's the last stand. We just want to get as many guys dead as we can here. Here he comes. We get a big poof of HE damage. Actually bounced. I'm sorry. He did switch to AP. I thought he had one more HE shot in his repertoire there. We're at 5,800 damage. We bounced that. Nicely done. So as far as shifting around and moving and making the shots difficult for the other team, you're doing a really nice job of that. Just watch your approaches there. And I'm very surprised nobody come around behind you, but it's going to happen here pretty quickly. We'll just kind of watch. Again, why the T-56 didn't just come around and start tanking shots from you and give his other guys some opportunities, maybe get some ram damage. Speaking of ram damage, I just showed it. This is Guido approved right here. He's obviously on a reload, or maybe he just wants to ram, but he gets in here and kills himself, which is nice for Razorback. He gets his 4th kill off of that, and the Char probably gets a little bit more damage that he wasn't going to get because he was probably on a reload. That's my guess. Or maybe he just didn't want it. Maybe he just wanted to ram or thought he could kill him with the ram, or who knows there. I think he was probably on a reload, and I think that's a good decision. Who cares about losing the tank unless you're really worried about your survival rate for some reason? Get that extra damage, extra experience. It's all good. We're going to kill this dude who tries to come around and take advantage right there, and down goes the Torn. And all of a sudden, we've got 2 kills and some extra damage we really shouldn't have got. What I will say about this particular situation here is I would continue to use this Char Future Razorback. Probably not going to come back from this game here, but we just sort of don't quite get there. He finally fires his AP, gold AP it looks like, at you and is able to take you down. And we end up with 6,296 damage, 3,950 bounced, and a 5-kill game. That's a quality game for a loss, man. There's not a lot you can do there. I thought you went to a good position. We talked about small little things to think about. You got away with a couple things. You got unlucky a couple times. You got lucky a couple times. But overall, put together a really nice game right there. So, anyone who's watching this, don't get too worried about me saying you got lucky or unlucky. That just happens to everybody. As I always say, it's not whether you get lucky or unlucky. It's what you do afterwards, because everyone's going to have those little things happen. And because of RNG and the way the game is designed, you can take chances and get away with things that in other games where people, where they aim hit pretty much all the time, other games will punish you much more. This one, RNG comes in, dispersion, people miss, they bounce, they low roll, all those kind of things can happen. All right, nice game, man. Thanks for sending that in. I hope everybody has a great day. That is all I've got. We will see you.